only your second motion picture. That's it. I'd like to first talk about the fact, because this story, the process of getting this film launched, has had a long history, starting with Marty Scorsese, who hired Josh Singer, and then Marty decided to do Irishman, and then I really wanted to tell the story, but I was also getting ready for West Side Story and work with Josh, and then I was not going to be able to do it, and then I called you, and you got the script, and you told me a story about what it was like growing up in your household with conducting as a little boy. Can you talk a little bit about how young you were when you started conducting?
Sure. Whoa, hey. Well, first of all, I have to say the only reason I'm here is this man right here. He gave me the opportunity. When you're in the position that Steven's in, and you have the kind of heart that he has, you can change people's lives. And that's what he did to this person right here, by just extending his hand and saying, come with me, and here you go, and I'm going to let you tell the story the way that you and Josh will investigate it and explore it, and I'll be there to help guide you. So I'm completely indebted to you. Thank you, Stephen. Stephen and I, we go back. I mean, we were going to do American Sniper together. We were talking about doing Mad Helm together,
right.
and I shared with him my obsession with conducting, and I think that's how this started.
It did.
And when I was 8 years old, I asked Santa Claus for a baton, and Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny, and I just love the power of the illusion of making music with your hand and gestures. And you would remember that. And so I was on vacation. You said, I might do this Burnside thing, have a read. And then that's how it started. And then, of course, you also know how sort of what a maniac am when I love something. And how many texts did I send you like an hour after you sent me the script? And it was almost embarrassing.
Yeah, the text went on for 7 months. 7 months. And the texts were they were brilliant. But what was happening in all the text messaging that you were sending me, and as you were also talking to Josh through the process, was the fact that what I probably would have done with this, I think what Marty was thinking of doing with this, was a Leonard Bernstein biographical motion picture. And this is not a biographical Leonard Bernstein story. This is an anatomy of a marriage, and also an anatomy of looking into yourself. How do you represent yourself to yourself and to the world, even though you and Felicia and your family eventually knew exactly who Leonard Bernstein was. So this became a story about a marriage. What was it that made you, because I saw the evolution the script took, and when you and Josh began working, it went deeply into that relationship, almost exclusively.
Yeah, I mean, it really came down to Leonard being such a photographed and videoed musician, probably the most in the 20th century. He was sort of the dawn of all the technological advances that were occurring, and he had an incredible manager that was always at the forefront. So right away, when I started doing research with Josh, it became clear that there was no reason to ever make a sort of standard biopic, because there was just so much. I would just be doing some sort of impersonation of what's already out there. What was interesting, more than interesting, intoxicating, was this marriage, this relationship that we were unearthing between Felicia Montalegre, played so wonderfully by Carey Mulligan, and Leonard Bernstein. And that's the key. The things that I always love about movies are when I'm watching these sort of cinematical, mythological archetypes, yet I'm relating to them. And that's the goal. And I always knew that we had something nuclear with Leonard Bernstein's music. But what is there that we could tell, that we could explore, that's something that you all can connect to? And then it's healing. And to me, it was this relationship. And when Josh and I found that as the North Star, that as the anchor, then everything started to really take form and take shape and get very exciting.
What was the 2-week retreat that you and Carey Mulligan went on to sort of vertically integrate yourself into these characters. The
Yeah,
process.
that was something that was taught to me in grad school by Elizabeth Kemp, who was taught by Sandra Seacath, and it was based in the dream workshop where you sort of chronicle your dreams you log your dreams for a series of weeks, and then you get together with whoever else you're working with, and in this case it was Carrie and I, and her acting teacher Kim, and we worked for 6 days, and you share these dreams that you write down based on asking for your character. And then you do exercises together, and it culminates into a ritual that you create, sort of a one-person show for the other person. And it's really, the goal is just becoming absolutely vulnerable with the other person, so that you share something and you have a bond and you can really trust each other. And I've done this before with many projects. Stephanie, Lady Gaga, and I did it for A Star Is Born. Yeah, and it's amazing the things that come out of it, even when as a writer, that us sitting back to back came out of the ritual, and it was such an image that when we found ourselves in that position that then I went back and Josh and I wrote that into the script. But that really is the moment that exercise I find to be completely invaluable, because you just, once you're locked in that kind of way, we were able to be bold every day on set.
Pursuant to that, when you're working and you're working with your actors, how do you actually handle, being a member of the team but also being the coach?